Welcome to the note-taking presentation. Some of you will embark on literature-based research projects, while others will embark on research that will put you at the bench doing experiments. You should all keep a lab notebook. This notebook is perhaps the most important tool you have, but you're only going to get out of it what you put in. Lab books are not your property. Your laboratory notebook is actually a legal document. If there are ever any allegations of fraud or scientific misconduct, your lab notebook will be seized, searched through, and analyzed. If your lab ever patents something that you worked on, your lab notebook could be heavily scrutinized in order to verify your patent. When you're done in the lab, the notebook will stay there. It will likely pass down to the next graduate student, technician, or postdoc that will take over your project. This is your legacy. You may have been given a lab notebook from a past student and formed impressions about them based on how neat or messy it was. Make sure your legacy is protected. There are many different types of laboratory notebooks. Many of you will have different ones as your research projects will vary. In almost every setting, the hardbound, stitched notebook is best. This notebook will contain a record of everything you've done. There are also soft cover notebooks or binders that you'll see. These are good to store all the raw data that you may print out from machines. Electronic notebooks are available as well. These are very helpful because you can search through them more easily, and often you can type faster than you can write. However, these are limited since you can't paste raw data into it. Your files can always become compromised, and they're not final versions, meaning they won't hold up in court. A good compromise for you is to make a general protocol of what you're doing, print that out, and then paste that page into your hardcover notebook. This way you can fill in the information that may change with each experiment, but you don't have to write down every step each time you do it. Your notebook should have a general outline. On the front cover, write your name, which lab you're in, which notebook it is, because you'll likely end up with a few by the time you graduate, as well as a table of contents on the first few pages. For each entry, you should include the date, the title, your hypothesis or goal for the experiment, the background, in other words, why are you doing this, the methods, your observations, the raw data, your analysis of that raw data, perhaps in graph form, and then what you plan to do next based on those results. The methods section should be very strong and detailed. This section is arguably the most important section of the whole notebook, since you will inevitably come back to it months later to see how you did an experiment. Even though you're bound to repeat your mistakes, make sure you write down everything so that you can document and track what went wrong, what you can change, and all of the steps contained in the methods so that you don't get stuck doing the same exact thing but expecting different results. The more detailed you are, the better. For example, make sure to indicate all of the information you can about the reagents. Where did they come from? Who made them? How old are they? For cells, how viable are they? What's their passage number? Where did they come from? Indicate all instruments that were used and the settings they were calibrated to, including centrifuges. One of the more overlooked aspects in methods is time. In some experiments and settings, the addition or subtraction of 30 seconds can make the difference between getting a positive result and seeing nothing. So make sure to be as thorough as you can. Some other smaller points are that you should use a pen and not a pencil. This is a legal document. The only acceptable writing utensil is a pen. If you make a mistake, just cross a line through it. Do put everything in. You'll hate spending time documenting all of your negative data or experiments that didn't work, but this will help you so much as you troubleshoot what went wrong. Don't remove anything from your notebook, even if you find that something was very wrong and not necessary. Don't take anything out, and don't modify old entries. If you notice you made a mistake on an old page, just make a note of it going forward. You will undoubtedly write notes on tissue paper, paper towels, or whatever other random surface that you can find at the time. Paste them into your notebook or copy them very carefully. Having primary evidence of your observations instead of copies is usually a better idea.